Hi there, I've got a couple of cabinet parts to sand this afternoon, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to demonstrate the use of two of the sanders in the Festool lineup. Let me put this camera down here. Now this is a leg for a cabinet that I'm making, and you can see here it's just come straight off the bandsaw. It's rough on two sides and it's been sort of generally milled here. It's not very, it's got a few dings and so on. And I've got another one here, the same. These are the back legs. I've already sanded the front legs here. Those are finished. And here was my template. Now I have two sanders. I have the Rotex 125 and the ETS 125. This is a random orbit sander with a 2mm stroke. It's very gentle, very lightweight. You can use it upside down on the ceiling or whatever. And this is a Rotex which has two modes. It has the geared Rotex mode, which is an aggressive sanding mode, and then it has a random orbit mode here. But the random orbit stroke on this is not as fine as this. I think this is a 3mm or maybe a 3.5mm stroke, and this is a 2mm stroke. So essentially, since they're both 5-inch sanders, they take obviously the same paper. But since I got the ETS 125, I hardly ever use the Rotex in random orbit mode. So my typical sanding regime for something like this, if this wasn't a curved edge, I might, smooth it with a hand plane first. Just be a lot quicker, to be honest. A couple of passes with a low-angle jack plane, something of this length, very straightforward. But it is a curved surface, so it's unless you have a spoke shave or one of those funny hand planes with a curved, radius plane, I think they're called, something like that. It's easier to go at it with a sander, power sander. Now the Rotex, I have a few pads for my Rotex. The pads are not interchangeable between the two sanders. So the first pad that it comes with is this pad. This is a sort of medium soft pad here. If you squeeze it, you're going to get some flexibility. The second pad that I bought later on is a hard pad, much harder. And the third pad is a really hard pad, and that's the polishing pad. Green is polishing in Festool. And I use this when I'm polishing. That gives me a really flat surface. So on something like this, I'm going to go with the soft pad. And what you do is you put the pad on there, and you press this green button down, and you tighten it. You don't need to go crazy, just give it make it tight. Now for something like this, I start with 100 paper. This is not new paper. And you just position it over the holes, like so. You do need ear protection because, the tool has a plug-in cord and it has tool-activated dust extraction. So you're going to get the dust extractor and the noise of the Rotex. So it's pretty noisy. This is the 27mm hose. I have on my boom arm a 36mm hose which connects to some of the other tools. But I'll be using the sanders all take 27mm. Here's the speed control, and it's set to aggressive Rotex mode. So I'll just put my ear protection in, and I have these clamping elements which are excellent. Something like this, just push it forward, that's nice and tight. Okay. Now the dust extraction on these tools is phenomenal, but when you're sanding something that is on an edge, it's not going to be as good, and you're going to see dust come around here. If I was doing this for a long period of time, I've only got two legs to do. If I was doing it for a long period of time, many pieces like this, I would wear a mask. But if you're sanding a flat surface or normal surface, you wouldn't need it at all. This will capture all the dust, but not in this case. And this pad is soft enough to be able to ride this radius with a little pressure. Okay, so we're starting with 100 grit. And just do this side. You've got to be careful not to press too hard because you'll introduce a camber into the workpiece, which I don't want to do. Okay, this side 3. Side 4. This one's quite bumpy here, so it might take a bit longer. Just to show you, the sandpaper is still in great condition. This paper lasts for a long time, but as you can see there is some dust lying around here, and you know, you can just back that up. Now I've got to be careful because I don't want to change the shape of this pad, which is why I'm keeping the sander moving as much as possible. I don't really want to change the shape by concentrating on one area. So, but like I say, these are legs. So that's done. What I did was laminate a little piece here. That's what that line is. You can see the end of it here. But that's fine. So what I would do now is take that off and I'll switch to 120. Okay. So the bandsaw marks are gone at 100. So now switch this to 120. 120 and finish with 180. Okay, here we go, 180. None of this paper's new, but like I say, it lasts just unplug this. Now, I missed out 150. I tend to skip grits, but this is a good place to leave the Rotex behind. And 180 and above, 180 at a random orbit, in a random orbit mode, I switched to this Festool ETS 125, which is a beautiful sander. I love it, but it comes in for a fair bit of negative press. Now on this I have a slightly harder pad, and what I do is, on a piece like this, I use one of these very soft, what they call interface pads, and they essentially fit over like that. They've got the holes in, and now I'm confident that I can switch to, I will start with a brilliant 180 here. This looks like a new sheet, and now because the sander is more gentle and the paper is obviously a much higher grit, I can use an interface pad, and I'm not worried that it's going to significantly bevel this or change the shape or so on. If I put this interface pad on the Rotex at 100 grit, it's going to be way too aggressive. So let's attach this. I love these plug-it cords. Absolute genius. Whoever came up with those just makes everything so simple. Alright. Okay, this is the ETS 125. Okay, I should say that you're supposed to wipe down the workpiece after each sanding, but I've not really, doesn't really make much difference, to be honest. This is a this is a leg, it's not a tabletop or whatever, so I've been going fairly quickly, but I hope you can see. If I just let's get a paper towel here, just burnish this. This is up to, what did I say, 180? Probably give it a bash with a 220 as well, actually. Yeah, I usually stop at 220 on something like this. Okay. see, but very, very smooth finish, very quick. So yeah, that's the ETS 125, very quick, and you know, once you buy the sanders and you buy a couple of the pads like this, you're really only replacing the sandpaper, and the sandpaper lasts for a long time. So it's a very worthwhile investment, and they're great fun to use, and yeah, they do a great job. So that's it. Thank you very much.